What's up, my Wargaming friends? Welcome back to World of Wargaming. Today we're going to dig into a video that was a request from one of you wonderful people. We're going to be talking a little bit about the process and the things that I go through to prep a rule book to play a new game. Should be a pretty short video, and hopefully it'll be somewhat helpful. So obviously the first thing we need is a rule book. I'm going to be going ahead and going through this Dragon's Rampant rule book today that I didn't even know I had. I found this on my shelf. I did not buy this. I'm not sure where it came from, but I'm glad I've got it. We also need some of these little tabbies to label them with. The fine point Sharpies work best for this. Normally I would use a black one, but I can't find my black one, so I'm going to use this blue one. And then lastly, we need highlighters in various colors or all the same color, whatever you want to do. I like using a lot of different colors because it helps me visually break the information up better. And a little disclaimer, as with all things in our hobby, there are a bunch of different ways that you can go about doing this. I'm just going to show you my way. Now, while it is completely possible to just go through and put tabs on the table of contents pages, sometimes there are multiple things in a section of the table of contents that I want to be able to find quickly while I'm playing the game. But the first thing that I'm always going to mark is the what you need to play, because that's usually going to tell you table size, supplies, all that good stuff. Just quick and easy, and I generally like to try to match the tab to the highlighter color that I'm using. Now, the big thing for me here is to be selective about the things that I highlight, because often in rule books, there's a lot of not necessarily unnecessary verbiage, but there is often a lot of stuff that's repeated over and over in different sections. So what I will normally do is I will go in and pull out the absolute most important pieces of that information with the highlighter so that I can find them quickly. Things like the actual roles that you need for things as opposed to all the preface that leads up to what you need to make those roles. So for example, if we look at this paragraph about strength points, there's a lot there, but the only parts that I really need are the parts that are highlighted. They begin with 6 or 12 strength points. Easiest way to track them is by number of models, and the fact this line down here at the bottom that being above or below half strength is important in the game. Now, should you read all of this? Yes, but is all of this what you need to find when you're quickly trying to look up a rule or a ruling on something? No, it's not. We just need those most important bits. As I mentioned earlier, I don't always just go by the table of contents as far as putting stuff down. I think this is a good example. So here on the leaders page, we have this list of this table of leader traits. I want to be able to flip straight to this. I don't want to have to fumble through it. I don't want to have to look for it. So this is an example of where I would add in another tab just for the sake of convenience. Now, in the unit profile sections and in other places where there's a lot of information like skills, spells, things where you have long lists of stuff, I'm not going to go through here and do all that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the title, and I'm going to mark the special rules so that I can quickly find those things on the page. Now, this is a point where I will usually break from my highlighter matching my tab, because I want them to stand out and be separate and different so that I know when one stops and another starts just by looking at the color of the highlighter. We end up with something that looks a little bit more like this. Again, we have another instance of me kind of contradicting what I said earlier. Not really contradicting, but applying different things. For stuff like this where I've got a long list, and this kind of falls in with the spells, I like to use, again, different colors, and then we're breaking up just looking for that most important bits of information on the page. And from there, we just continue through the whole book until we have everything highlighted and tabbed for ease of play. As promised, quick, short, simple video by viewer request. Hope it was helpful or answered any questions that you may have had about how I do this, or maybe offered you some new ideas on how you approach new books and getting things ready to hit the table. Thanks so much for tuning in, hanging out while we talked about prepping rule books. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day.